Alright, let's get started. This is the ultimate pan fishing and trout fishing how-to from the rod, reel, line, tule lures. Not going to be talking about bait because that's boring. Artificial lures only. Let's get started. So, if you want to get out on the water, you're going to need a few things first. Number one, a good net. Hook into a fish, you get it close to you, you see it, and you lose it, you are going to be so mad at yourself that you did not have a good net. Now, after you've netted the fish, because you got your good net, you're going to have to get the hooks out. And with these trout and these panfish, sometimes they just like to devour, engulf, make the hook disappear. So you're going to want to have some forceps or some needle nose pliers. Each have their benefit. The forceps, you can really get in down deep in the trout or crappie, bluegill, whatever you're catching. If they really get it down here, get in there, pop it out, no problem. The pliers, they're easier to grab stuff with, and they have the added bonus of having the little nippers. Now, they can be used for mono, fluoro, if you don't use your teeth. But it can also be used to cut your treble hooks, and that's the game changer, and that's why I prefer the pliers over the forceps, but they don't take up much room. Carry both. Okay, those are the main accessories you need. Your tackle box and all that, that comes next. Whatever, we won't talk about that. I got notes here so I don't forget anything. Alright, we'll skip this one. Talk about your rod and your reel first. Okay, so you got your two types of reels. If you're not spin casting like with the Zebco, which you can do for these fish because they're so easy to catch. If you choose to go the spinning reel route, I recommend a size 1000 to size 2000 spinning reel. 500's a little small. You can't really cast much with a 500, and you're like this, like too small. This is a 1000 Shimano Sahara. This is my workhorse. I've caught more fish than I can count with this. Bass, panfish, trout, everything. It feels really good on the rod that I have, which we're going to talk about next. Yeah, as far as line goes, I'm running 4-pound Berkeley Trilene micro ice line. You can hardly see it. It's strong enough, it stretches a little, but it's very thin, and I've outfished people using 6-pound test. We're throwing the same lure, throwing everything. With those finicky trout, they're going to be line shy. And that 4-pound test really is a game changer. Okay, now, if you're going to go the casting route, I would recommend a size 100 casting reel or a BFS reel. If you're balling and can afford BFS stuff, do it. It's sick. It's just nice to have nice stuff, and nice stuff is expensive, especially BFS. Here I got the Daiwa Tatula TW something, one or another. It's an expensive one, and I have that loaded with 20-pound braided line. On casting reels, you're going to want the braid. It's just easier to manage. I don't have a leader tied on right now, but you're going to want to tie one on of something like fluoro or mono. I usually go fluoro, and since I'm running bigger baits on these bait casters, I use 6-pound test. I know I just went over how great 4-pound is, but that's on the spinning gear. Okay. onto the rod. We'll start with spinning, of course, and go on to the casting. Make sure I don't have my ceiling. For spinning rods, I'm running a 6'6" to a 7'6" ultralight. Right here I have the Akuma SST. I think the retail was like 80 bucks. 7-foot ultralight. This thing has been a tank. I don't think anyone does affordable ultralight gear like Akuma. They just got it, and they got it good. Another great one's the Solilo. I ran my Solilo all summer, catching big old bass, until I hit a bridge with the tip and broke the tip. But that's on me. That's not on Akuma. That's on me. So yeah, 7-foot ultralight. You can go a 7'6" if you want to cast a little further. You can go a 6'6" if 7 foot's a little too long for you. You can catch fish on all of them, but you're definitely gonna want the ultralight. It makes those small fish feel giant, and you can just really load them up. Don't lose them. Feel everything. What more can I say? The casting rod. For casting, I want something a little heavier, but not super heavy. I have braid hanging off right there. This is the Lamaglass X11. This is also a 7-foot, but it's not an ultralight. Oh, it is an ultralight, but it feels like a light action. Some of the ultralights, when you get into casting, they're made for kokanee, and they're like noodles. I like this one because it's a little stiffer. You can still cast, and it's not gonna. And you can load up on those fish, feel everything. This is a great rod. Retails for about $100. Throw up to a ½ ounce on it. Lamaglass X11, ultralight to light action. The main thing is, if you're going to be casting for these fish, you're going to want more of a backbone than if you're using your standard spinning gear. Okay, to recap that section, spinning gear, 4 to 6 pound, mono or fluoro, 7-foot ultralight rod. Casting gear, we'll go 10 to 20 pound braided line with a 4 to 6 pound fluorocarbon leader. I don't like the mono with as a leader because it doesn't sink as well as the fluoro. Okay, that should be everything for not your tackle. Now we can get into tackle, the fun stuff. So these trout and these panfish are going to be feeding on 3 main food groups basically. You got your bugs, you got your worms, and you got your fish, your little minnows. As far as bug lure goes, Z-Man micro lures are great. They're money. I'd recommend those. I don't have any on me right now, but I'll throw up some photos. A personal favorite of mine are the Berkeley Power Nymphs. These things look like a big, gross, scary bug, or like a little crawfish almost. But yeah, those are awesome. I've got tons of fish on these: pike minnow, bass, trout, crappie, everything in between. Another good bug imitation. This one is kind of a bug. It's up to you to decide. These are inexpensive, and the jig heads that come with them are actually awesome for just about every soft plastic I'm going to show today. But yeah, these are the Leyland Lures trout magnets. You can buy them in these little single color packs, and they're like $2. Like, gotta love that. They also come in the bigger Plano style case kits, and you're gonna get 8 different colors to play around with. You can drift these under a bobber, or even just cast them out all summer long. I just casted them out with that 4-pound test on that spinning gear, and a little jigging, boom, 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 fish on, take them home. not actually catch and release, but you'll catch fish. Okay, as far as the worms go, you can obviously use live worms, but what's the fun in that? There's no pride in feeding a fish. We want to trick a fish. Potski fireworms. These are my Pacific Northwest secret right here. You can catch any fish in the lake with these, from the smallest little freaking pumpkin seed all the way up to the biggest pike or catfish of your dreams. Maybe. They come in, I want to say 5 different colors. You got your natural, just brown, your chartreuse. Everybody knows chartreuse. White. I have peach. I do have one more peach left. Let's see. A peach color. It's kind of hard to see, but it's peach. And my favorite, the pink. My store was out of these forever. We got them in. Boom. Bought all of them. Because they are so good. They will catch everything. The pink Potski fireworm. If you don't want to order them, or you can't find them in your area, a more available option is going to be the power bait worms or the gulp worms. Even the Gary Yamamoto Slim Senkos can be good. The Yum Mini Senkos. Worms. You can find a rubber worm. Walmart sells 99-cent packs of these cheap things called trout worms. Unscented, fake pieces of rubber. It's a worm. It's simple. Let's move on to your little fish and your grubs. So, grubs, I think every single company in the world makes a grub. Yum, Gary Yamamoto, Kalen's, Z-Man maybe, Zoom. Everyone has a grub, but not everyone has a killer paddle tail. So I'm going to show you some of my favorites, starting with the 3-inch Kitech, I think that's how you say it, minnows. These cost me $4.89 a pack. You get 10 lures. That's killer. You can rig these on a jig head. You can rig them weightless. Surely no wrong way to rig these. I mean, use them as a drop shot right through the nose. That's not my favorite way to fish though. These are awesome. The action is killer. Lots of great colors. Can't go wrong. Widely available. We'll go a little smaller. Ooh, just knocked over my SST. Z-Man shad fries. Now, these aren't a paddle tail. They're actually a jointed soft swim bait. Very, very small. 1-inch little boop, 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 boop tail. That elastic durability. They're just great. You can rig these on those little trout magnet jig heads. Rig them right through the nose as like a, I don't even know, just nose hook it, I guess. Rig them lots of different ways. They catch fish. It was Rar Fishing that showed me those on his channel. Saw his video and I was like, oh, those look good. Pick some up, haven't turned back. Okay, now, these are everywhere. They catch fish. Freshwater, saltwater, they're awesome. The power bait ripple shad. Had to look at the name there because I just call them power bait paddle tails. These are 3 inches. They catch tons of fish. I haven't even opened this pack. Let's see if I can do it real quick here. Holy shoot. Okay, we'll just grab one out. Now these are very thin right before that tail. You can see that tail is super droopy. So when you get these ripping through that water, that thing's kicking. This is a beautiful pearly trout color. They have hard, good eyes. Put them on a jig head. reel out, cast in, and you are going to have some fun. You're going to hook into some big fish, and you are going to have yourself a great day on the water. I put that in upside down, but who cares? Alright, that pretty much does it for my soft plastics. There's a million other great ones. We could sit here for an hour just talking about soft plastics, but say you're going to the store and you gotta grab some stuff, that's what you should grab right there. Okay, now we're gonna talk about spinners. Inline spinners, not your big old bass spinners. We'll start off with my favorites and move on from there. Yakima bait rooster tail. I've caught more fish in my life on these lures than anything. I think since I was 6 years old, I've been throwing these freaking lures and I've been slaying fish with them. Bass, crappie, bluegill, perch, trout. Yeah, that's all I got. But the list goes on, I'm sure. They come in, I want to say 1/16 ounce all the way up to a 1/4 ounce. I'm going to lay this rod down real quick before it falls. 1/16 ounce to a 1/4 ounce, the most simple lure you can use. You tie it on, you cast it out, you reel it in, make some stops, make some twitches, you're going to catch fish. Excuse me. They come in about 1 million different colors. One modification I do to all these spinner type lures is, got some out of the package. I'll show you here and I'll put a better picture up on the screen. I cut down 2 out of 3 of the treble hooks. And honestly, makes the fish actually commit to the lure. They're gonna bite it. You're gonna hook them up rather than get 3 tiny little pokes all over its mouth. One hole. It's better for the fish. It's easier to unhook them. You're gonna have a better day, catching more fish, worrying less about trying to get 20 different hook points out of a fish's mouth. Rooster tails. Obviously my favorite. They're all over. If you watch my shorts, I use a lot of those to catch big old trout. This is a brand that has become very popular. Oh, we're done talking about rooster tails. We're moving on. Here's a brand that has become very popular, it seems like, out of nowhere. These are the Joe's flies. Now, when I say fly, you might be thinking fly, for spin fishing. But the unique part about these is they use a fly as their hook. And one thing I don't like about them is they add a treble hook on top of that fly. So I go ahead and cut all those off. And man, these things slay fish. It's like that rooster tail. I think that little fuzz on the hook or that fly really, really improves your catch ratio. These fish probably see spinners all day long because they're so common. So when you throw something that's a little different, they're gonna bite it. Moving on to my third favorite. I don't have any of these still in the package, but we were talking about the Panther Martin. This is probably the best color they make. Yellow and red. Can't go wrong. And we have a gold one also. Now with this, I took off that treble and put on a Gamakatsu open ice sea wash hook. Clamped it down. Easy peasy. On this one, I just cut that treble. Good stuff. The thing about the Panther Martins that's different than rooster tails or the Joe's flies is they don't use a clevis to attach that blade onto the wire. So they're going to give you a much tighter spin. When you start reeling, it's going to spin faster. It's going to start giving you that action quicker. You can entice fish faster right when it hits the water. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. Something to consider when you're spending your money though. What kind of water you're fishing, where you're fishing, what you need to buy. Okay, on to spoons. Now, I don't throw a ton of your traditional spoons, like Daredevils or Little Cleos, so I don't have any on me right now. Hold up, my throat. Okay, so I don't have any spoons on me right now, but I do have some of my favorites. These are going to be the Max Humdingers, specifically in the 1/8 ounce size. These things, man, I just picked one up one day, and I caught more trout in a day than I had ever caught. Something about the way they swim just drives these trout crazy. It's like a wounded minnow. This is the color that caught me more fish than anything else. The exact number is 40108, and it is the red/gold sand. Man, let me tell you, this lure right here, cast it, retrieve slow, retrieve fast, let it sink, jig it, do whatever, you're gonna catch fish. They're cheap, they're awesome, pick one up, have a great time. Okay, that about covers it for spoons and spinners. Again, we could go on all day. You got your Meps, you got your Blue Foxes, you got your cheapo $1 bargain spinners, Rooster Tails, Joe's Flies. I'm sure I'm missing some. You can tell me all about them. But we'll just cover those for now. Those are my favorites. We're moving on. So similar to the soft plastics, these trout are going to eat minnows. So, jerkbaits and crankbaits are going to be your friends. And I know I keep saying trout, but the same thing applies for panfish. I've just been chasing trout recently, so the words in my head. Okay. Rapalas, man. I know they're expensive. I know they've been around forever. They don't got the fancy packaging. They're not the coolest lure, but my god, do Rapalas catch fish. These are some ultralight minnows. What's fun about these is they have that L-shaped bill that you see on something like the KVD Hybrid Hunter or Strike King Hybrid Hunter. And these suspend in the water column right in the strike zone. I like to fish them in the river. And when the trout are finicky and they're not biting those fast moving spinners, they're not biting the plastics, you throw out a little ultralight minnow by Rapala, give it a little twitch, and you'll have a fish on in no time. Similarly, you got the ultralight shad by Rapala. This has a round bill, so it's going to dive a little deeper. If those fish are sitting deeper in the water, cast it out, reel it in, pause, stop, you know how it goes. You're going to catch fish. Rapala, just about everything they make works for these types of fish. I got some written down, some of my favorites. Ultralight minnow, ultralight shad, your classic countdowns, and your X-Wraps are going to be money. Classic floaters, and the husky jerks. If you're chasing those big trout, husky jerks are going to be your friend. Now let's move on to crankbaits. Those are more jerk baits. So let's move on to your crankbaits. Do that without getting a hook in my finger. Crankbaits are awesome. If the fish are a little more shallow or even deeper, if the fish are anywhere, you can catch them with the crankbait. Here's a little one that was about $1 from Walmart. I took the crappy little trebles that came on them off, and I'm gonna put a little, probably size 10 otter hook on there, and these things are money, man. I lost the last ones I had, just in trees and whatever, but for panfish especially, they're awesome. They're literally like $1, so you can pick up a ton of them, not feel too bad when you lose them, and have a great day on the water. Another good one is the KVD Bitsy minnows. They look similar to this, but they're a lot nicer. You're going to want to cut down your trebles if you're cool, and those catch fish. And now, if you're chasing trophy trout, I'm going to let you in on a secret. Use those KVD 1.0s. If you bass fish, you probably got a couple of them. Tie them on behind some 8-pound fluorocarbon, and my God, man, you might not catch a lot of them, but you will catch some big old trout. They love them. They can't resist them. Use your bright colors like chili craw, bright red, stuff like that, and you're gonna catch the trophies. Alright, y'all. That about covers everything. Everything I could think of off the top of my head to get started trout fishing, get started pan fishing with artificial lures. Like I said at the beginning, anyone can get a bobber, get a hook, and go catch a bluegill. Alright, we're back. Had a little glitch. As I was saying, anyone can get a bobber, get a cheap Walmart combo, and catch some bluegill under a hook. But what's the fun in that? If you're catching 100 bluegill to have a fry, all the power to you. Awesome. But personally, I love to throw artificial lures. It makes this kind of fishing exciting, just like bass fishing, which we all love. So, as a recap, we're using 7-foot or 6'6" to 7'6" rods, size 1,000 to 2,000 spinning reels, loaded up with 4 to 6 pound monofilament or fluorocarbon. If you want to use your bait casters, you can use your BFS gear. You can use your size 100 casting reels, and you're gonna want a 6-foot to 7'6" casting rod. And a light action, not that ultralight, because you got the noodle rods for kokanee, and those just are hard to work with. 10 to 20 pound braid, use a 4 to 8 pound fluorocarbon leader, not mono, only fluoro for those leaders. As far as soft plastics go, worms and bugs and minnows are gonna be your killers. These Kiteks are great, the power baits are great. Go spend some money, get some new lures. You gotta love it. Spoons and spinners, 10 out of 10, the best lures you can buy. Rooster tails, Joe's flies, humdingers, go buy some, go try them. Don't forget your net, don't forget your forceps, don't forget your pliers. Throw some crankbaits, throw some Rapalas, get on the water, have fun, and catch more. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, share, post this on your Facebook so your grandpa can see it, and catch more.